Welcome back. We are getting into Neeb versus GuMiho. And everyone is ready to go. Go, 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 yo.
Yeah, so this will be interesting. The last two times Neeb and GuMiho played each other in best of threes, GuMiho has lost. Once was in the Olimoleague, I think that was in Li Fang or something. But Neeb is on top of GuMiho, is all it really comes down to.
Ooh. Like a,
Now, we didn't get to cast them last time, but I'm wondering if it is just like his adept all-ins are too much or his late game is too spectacular. Because the thing for Neeb that we know before even getting to like minute one of this game is Neeb knows how to play the late game really well. Neeb knows how to play the early game really well. There's not really a lot of holes when you can get on top of Neeb.
yeah. GuMiho has a couple of tricks though. See if he busts them out for this match. In the top left, on King Sejong is the first map. It is the Red Terran GuMiho.
Woohoo! And his opponent in the bottom right is going to be the foreigner currently living in Korea, the one and only Tings Neeb. Now, two things to say real quick before we get into the game. First off, we also do kind of work with Ting guys, and if you are from the United States, that promo code still works for BaseTradeTV, bttv.ting.com. Check it out. But more importantly, this, of course, is a tournament supported by the Olimoleague. And more so, it was built on through the Patreon. They're now partnered with Twitch, but there's still cool rewards and potential things to get in the future through the Patreon itself. So once again, just kind of mentioning, checking out patreon.com/Olimoleague.
Damn it.
What was that?
That was me trying to catch a gnat.
I was going to say, I've been trying to actually guess this, right? Because you've had this bug thing going on for the last couple casts. And it's either your cat knocking something off your desk or you clapping your hands trying to catch something real quick. Ow. Trying to catch something real quick.
Yeah, I don't, like, at first I blamed my hermit crabs, but I don't think it's their fault. And it's like one gnat at a time. It's not like I have like a hive of gnats that are growing somewhere in my room. It just,
Or so you hope.
I think my screen door, whenever I open my window, because occasionally I do if it's too cold, has like a hole in it. Plus gnats are really tiny anyway, so they probably fit through. That's exactly what I'm hoping. So, I said GuMiho has a couple of tricks, and especially if you've lost to this guy multiple times, you're gonna maybe want to use them. And GuMiho is also out of the Korean leagues now, I do believe. Unfortunately, he did lose some youngshik, I think. Anyway. So he can really bust out whatever he wants here to win the Olimoleagues, to win all that first place prize, and that includes proxying a factory. So Neeb got into the base. He was able to see the timing on the supply depot, which is kind of enough. You usually don't get much more than that as the Marines pop out and whatnot. Single Marine popped out. But it's always a question of like proxied or not, and you do want to know if it's proxied or not, so that's kind of unfortunate for Neeb. What else is coming out of it? Is it Automine drop? Is it Hellions? Is it straight up to a Banshee? That would be very odd, but also can be effective. The good catch-all Stargate, though, that's a pretty good structure to have. The only thing that's bad against is a proxy Ghost, which GuMiho could throw out.
Man, we haven't seen that in God knows how long. I kind of forgot about that build.
Yeah.
Thermal was like the first one to bust that out. The Koreans were like, oh shit, that looked really cool.
Yeah. That's the only thing that Stargate's bad against, because the Oracle doesn't, can't get all the ghosts and dies pretty quick to the ghost too. But everything else, it's fairly helpful. It detects Widow Mines, it can go into a Phoenix and kill Medevacs, Liberators, it can help versus the Banshees as well.
This is so cheeky.
It's a nice overall thing to get. So the Oracle does come out here, but he should know that he should probably keep it back at home. The timing, if this wasn't proxied, would be a little bit like up in the air, I suppose, but definitely proxied. Let's keep that at home. Widow Mines will come in now. Go straight for that mineral line. Neeb! Okay. Whew. GuMiho had, I think, automatically bird like that. That might have gotten more kills. Ooh, Militia Corps is not over in this pylon, so he's gonna lose a couple of probes, and in fact, if he doesn't move back to the pylon or surround the Marines, either one, that would have been dangerous, but just pick up and leave. This has already expended his energy on revealing the Widow Mines. Marines aren't getting much else done, but the attack isn't over quite yet.
7 probes are quite nice, but Yet still, because it is one base, it's that reminder to focus on the fact that this is
Oh my god, a
this
cyclone.
needs to do a lot more damage.
Ooh, this combination of units is sick.
I actually like the cyclone we're seeing right now. Like, it almost gets the Phoenix. It's the Lock-On's
Yeah.
got quite a bit of range to it. He's got another one on the way, but for Neeb, maintaining mining in the natural is going to be like a benefit, but not a necessity. And I say this only based on the fact that, again, GuMiho doesn't have a natural base at home. Everything is so dedicated here. So unfortunately, like, while this looks kind of cute and not bad, it still hasn't done enough yet.
It's pretty damn sick, though. I really like his
I love
control.
this turret, too. Oh, my God.
And the Cyclone Edition, he's rallying whatever Marines he can over here. Neeb, if he could get a second Oracle, he could probably just, straight up, oh, not even. Oh, GuMiho's already covered that. Never mind. Well, this is just Neeb trying to cover what is not a lot of units, but a very specific set amount of units that's very good.
I gotta wonder if this was like some super awesome, amazing, like GSO Pro League like strat he had up his sleeve but didn't get to use it through the year, so he pulls out versus Neeb because he keeps losing to Neeb. Or if this is just straight up desperation from GuMiho that's working out really well.
This is
Unfortunately,
sick.
the Liberate's going to zone this out once again. That Cyclone gets a lock on the combo with it, and that Mothership Core can't really add much to the party. Anytime he tries to build a pylon forward, he's going to get it sniped off by the Cyclone. On the other side of the map, we do have the Oracle go across. It's actually chipping away at the Reactor, which is kind of an interesting choice. Not a bad one either, but while production may remain low for GuMiho, the reality is he's not losing any of his units. He's not bleeding out slowly while this goes on. I love the Phoenix pickup on that Cyclone. Out of range from being protected from his other ones, he will lose that forward Cyclone, and looks like he will hold on to his Nexus.
That was a dangerous maneuver to bring those Cyclones up.
Yeah, because of course they can just get picked up once again, as we see happen. So, should have waited for the rocks to get broken down, I feel.
Yeah, me too. Then he could have had help with the,
I think
the
Neeb just
turret.
broke him. I think Neeb just broke him and broke his
so.
attack.
I mean, that would have been close. The rocks
Oh
were broken
my
down a little bit earlier. The missile turret was used a bit more effectively.
This is insane because there's even the best players, foreigner-wise, like we watched Lily Canine and other, couldn't control this attack the same way GuMiho could. Still Lily Canine, I meant to say Thermal, excuse me. Couldn't control this attack the way GuMiho is, and at the same time, there's very few people who could calmly defend like Neeb has here.
He's gonna get the Nexus, but I don't think that's enough.
It's everything for it though, and again, Neeb's actually got so many extra workers. Being a base down is not such a problem. He started that third Nexus anyways, so while the natural goes down, he is going to have two bases mining immediately as this third finishes up right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe that was a bit of a overconfident maneuver, but I think
it was.
I think it's fine.
I think it was a good choice. He did that when he realized he wasn't going to hold on to that natural base. So that wasn't him getting a third and being greedy, saying, this attack means nothing. It really was him like, okay, if I can't hold this base, I'm screwed. He's going to pick up the Cyclone as soon as it spawns. So annoying. Or try to, at least.
Well, he's out of energy.
Yeah, I guess not realizing that was going to be the case. As the Liberator pops out, too, he might be able to get on top of that. One of the things does go down.
Phoenix ended up being a perfect answer here, and GuMiho, he actually got more production. He could have gotten a command center and tried to play a macro game, but instead went for the true all-in, and I guess some defense. It's just, this might be a bit of panic mode, like, to get the barracks first, but then not go for a follow-up all-in, just is like, if it was for defensive purposes, it's just setting him back so much more. You know, thinking that he needs to defend against something, when he probably should have just tried to be greedy. At this point in time, your attack hasn't worked. You're going to have to choose some extreme or the other to come back. But you know, GuMiho doesn't know about the third base, so that's probably why he thought defending first would be a good idea. Now he knows, and he sees how fully saturated it is too. That can't be a great thing to scout. Well, it's going to help the saturation a little bit. Factory's going to go down. Oof. Starport is going to make its way back home, and I guess it's kind of more important. Most people are using widow mines nowadays, though, so I think he will really want to rebuild the factory.
I mean, I really respect GuMiho. I just don't feel like there's the macro game in this forum. And not even because he can't pull it off, Neeb's not going to let him. The Phoenix attack's going to be pretty massive when comboed with the Stalkers and the Adepts.
Yeah. Yep. And this
let's not forget, as each of these Marines gets picked up, there's no combat shields. It's going to be shot down so quickly by these Phoenix.
Yeah. This is where it kind of helped, and he used out a bunker. I think GuMiho can hold long enough here. He has so many Marines because he did go for the barracks first instead of the command center. You know, we've had a lot less. That wasn't the case, but it's still a point where like Neeb is now taking his natural as his third base almost because there wasn't much mining going on there. So he'll have 3 bases to 2, a lot faster than the second one is set up as well. His team is only on 20 SCVs. He never really built any more and lost a bunch too.
Oh, we almost have cameras set. Look at that. It's so close. So close. The regions are slightly off.
Almost.
Alright.
Well, the missile turret never finished. He just canceled it, so he's going to lose a lot of SCVs as the time goes on. 2 medevacs, a solid enough push on even army supply. And Phoenixes, some of them, you know, aren't going to be able to help with the ground, but helping with the medevacs is always important too. Neeb can hold this well enough, basically. He might take some damage, he might lose a good army, but you won't lose the game.
Guardian Shield gets picked off pretty quick. That was actually going to be huge to that fight if he could have kept that alive, but as we can see, the number game's still just too much one side. It picks up half the army in the sky, while the Stalker's going to depth shoot the rest. Phoenix going to live above all this, and Neeb's just left with too much afterwards. I mean, keep in mind, that first attack from him going across the map to GuMiho was really the ragtag amount of units he had left over from the defense. This time around, he's going to have the Warp Prism, he's going to have everything he actually wants for the attack, and GuMiho doesn't have tanks and wouldn't mind at home. He's got barely Marines rallied forward. This does not look good for him.
No, it is not, but so much of it has to go with that first attack. Had he saved the Cyclones, had he broken down those rocks, this could have been in his favor minutes ago. It was such a cool idea. Glad we got to see it, but also glad we got to see the response to it. Neeb making it look like, you know, not a big deal. It's going to send us into GuMiho's map choice. He could also choose another map to abuse.
If you could, I guess, just so the people know what we've been finagling with behind the scenes, just screen share this real quick or whatever. We're trying to get player cameras set up so that we can individually select this and put it on the broadcast, guys, for the live feed. This is not happening right now. This is a video of like a past Olimoleague we're testing features and functions with, but we're so close to getting this to work. So close. You can see, man, what is Beyond doing? His posture's terrible. You gotta sit up straight, boy. Anyways, so close to making this work. So it'd be really cool if for the Olimoleague monthly finals we can actually get like a proper live feed of the players playing while they're playing. So just stuff we're working on to improve this and keep making the Olimoleague better than ever.
It's so tiny. I have to like full screen it. I can't full screen it though. Oh. I'm actually not 100% sure how I'm going to set it up.
Well, hopefully and ideally, my wrists should be good to go by then, and you won't have to worry about it, because I already know exactly how I want to set this up.
Oh, that won't work. What? Why not?
Don't break things, you're getting in a game!
Well, I'm not breaking it, but I don't know why it's not working. Whatever, anyways. Put that back up.
Anywho. So I don't know if people actually got a peek at what I was trying to get all proud about, or not.
They saw the camera setup. It was just tiny. Let's get a game. Okay, so it is going to be Frozen Temple, which is kind of what I was expecting them to do. I'm just putting it out there, but still. Could have been something else. Could have been Dasson. No, actually, could not have been Dasson Station because it's Olimoleague. I forgot. In the top left, down 1, he's the Blue Terran GuMiho.
And his opponent, sorry, I'm still typing with the Korean cast or the engineers here, going to be the yellow Protoss, Neeb.
Yeah. So as I have forgotten, let me remind all of you as well that the Olimoleague only has 5 maps in its map pool. Gets rid of the ones that are considered terrible or just, you know, not favorable. So Dasson and Galactic were closed out.
I actually really wish we would revise that, maybe. Obviously, this is simply an opinion and not something I think is necessary at all. It works as is. But that was originally a rule really put in when there was a lot of really bad maps. Like, and there were maps that just were not worth looking at. Now, this current map pool, I'm still iffy about Dassin Station, to be honest with you, but even that one included, I'm okay with all the maps from what we've seen out of players and games.
Yeah. It's kind of a twist to give it a little bit more than any other tournament. There's so many twisted Olimoleague now, though, that you could mix and match. You know, it has a really big prize pool, which is awesome. It's on the Korean server, which is very different. It obviously has a live cast now, which is pretty cool. And it's funded by Patreon, which has always been, like, its biggest thing, basically. But it's a multitude of things, including the reduced map pool, and it's interesting. But it can sometimes backfire, I suppose, if the maps really are interesting enough. We kind of wish we'd see that variety, but Galactic Process was the odd choice out, you know. I was surprised when people don't pick it, when I thought it would be the standard map, like, not quite like Dusk Towers, but close enough to it. But I guess it really isn't that well chosen. I don't know why they chose not to do that. It's usually something that she does talk with the Koreans to get their judgment on it as well. Unless the maps are obviously broken, in which case she can usually decide for herself, so it's not like she's a supreme ruler. Well, she kind of is, but it's usually the players having a say as well.
Women are allowed to think for themselves in 2016.
That's true. Not 2015, though. You've come a long way.
No, that was actually a terrible year.
Yeah, it's true.
Actually, fun fact, 2015 is when we discovered the moon.
True. Yeah. Finally, like, really, you know, not the fake stuff in the 60s. Yep.
I mean, how could they land on it if it wasn't real?
We have Neeb moving over the Stargate again, and this is not because he's got anything iffy. He did scout the command center going down, but just that this is still a nice opener. And something that Neeb has specifically liked doing, you know, where a lot of other Protosses haven't necessarily given up on the Stargate openers at all. Like, they're still used, like, 40% of the time. I'm throwing out a random number here. Neeb seems to do it more reliably, and even use Phoenixes, which is the true difference between him and other Protosses. Oracle openers will always be a thing. Proxy oracles will probably always be a thing, but Phoenixes beyond that can be very stylistic, and, you know, only certain people will do that. Not saying Neeb will here, just is he's thrown it out before, for sure. He's actually sending out a lot of his units, just adepts, but a gateway perhaps? No, just the pylon. A very minimal amount of pressure, but had it distracted for the Oracle, which it ends up doing, but didn't need help doing, is certainly worth it. And GuMiho just wasn't expecting this, it looks like. His Marines at the front, though, the Adepts, there we go, they're all combined together. Should be enough. Oh, a tank mixes things up, but the Photon Overcharge helps. Adepts run. Oracle was pulled back, in fact. It probably could have continued to do a little bit of damage, but I guess the Cyclone also scared it away. This is a lot less Marines than GuMiho wanted with this push, however. Like, this single tank is so... It adds a lot of leverage here, but only if it's protected, and it's not even picked up. GuMiho's just in a world of trouble. Despite not losing that many SCVs, his push just failed. His plan on Frozen Temple has failed.
I'm wondering if for Korean... Like, we know this to be a fact since, like, ever since we first seen him. Koreans play a lot more aggressive, right? And there's this thing we always talk about with foreigners, where, like, you give too much away by being aggressive, you're dropping too much, you don't have enough of an army. I don't know GuMiho's place on the last two series they played, right? Again, this is like GuMiho being down 2 different best of 3s to Neeb recently. I gotta wonder, like, would passive play be better for him? Bulk up an army? Like, him getting aggressive like this to Neeb just doesn't work.
It's really not working. Oh my god, how do they... Relation to the far past range. But yeah, GuMiho does this in all of his big leagues, by the way. This isn't the reason he lost in the GSL or whatever it was that he would do the same things, he gets slapped down. No, it works against a lot of people, but Neeb is absolutely slapping him down at every turn. To be fair, the tank push on Frozen Temple is one of the most common weird things you can do. At this point, it's not even that weird. So to have Neeb prepared for it, at least mentally, but also with the correct units and whatnot already in hand, is not too surprising. Coupled with his denial of the last game's push, just makes him look like he's got GuMiho's number. The Liberator goes down, Marines go down, 5 probes go down, Neeb is on a 3rd base. Like, once he pushed back that tank, He was like, oh, that's kind of it. You know, you could try and push me again with the tank, but that wouldn't really work out, so I'm just gonna take a third base. It's exactly the opposite of what GuMiho wanted. A single Phoenix helps tear down the medevac here, so no more medevac pressure. GuMiho is just this shitty situation. Doesn't have stim. He's just looking towards like a macro game with command center. Neeb's just gonna roll over him soon. The numbers aren't reflective of that quite yet, but Neeb's just now getting production. He's gonna have upgrades as that production finishes. And I don't even think GuMiho will have stim. 121. Yeah, he won't. There'll be like a minute where he doesn't have stim against Resident Glazing +1. That could be big, because of course Neeb is constantly scouting. He knows what the army looks like, and knows that like, well, in like 2 minutes I'd probably be able to kill you. I guess the only thing he's missing is a War Prism, so that might delay his push a little, and give time for GuMiho to get stim, but stim isn't the end-all be-all. That doesn't mean he's just safe to go after he has stim. He still needs to have his tanks in a good position, still needs to kind of be very cautious with how he moves with his army. And his third base, he needs it. He absolutely needs to get this third base, is going to put him in a more vulnerable position.
This, Pictionary I'm playing with the Twitch engineer right now is gonna be a really fun story for you to look through when we're out of this game, by the way.
Kind of see the previews.
Yeah, doing screenshots right now. I'm like trying to tell him to shrink something so he crops it, and I'm just like, no, don't crop it. You do. Shrink it.
Just got to fly to Korea to get this done.
Well, you know,
$2,000 to fix something.
Like...
Yeah.
I'm actually sure there's probably been like worse stories in like the tech industry for people like getting things fixed.
Oh, absolutely. There's so many, like there's people that I've met who actually just talk about how they're flown in and paid $100,000 to say, yep, you guys are screwed, and then leave. Like,
or be like, no, you're supposed to hit save.
Yeah. Yeah. My uncle actually wanted to not fly me down, but like offered to pay for my hotel and stuff just to teach him how to use like Word. It's drastic sometimes. Very drastic. Look, I don't know, Neeb is like maybe more paranoid than GuMiho is. Oh, my SPs went down. Totally missed that. About an attack here. I really thought Neeb would look at that army and be like, you know what, I can totally take that. But he is being very cautious. With tanks and liberators, I can see why. One wrong move and you let all your adepts die. But he's like super afraid GuMiho's gonna get a super good drop in. You got pylons over here, you got units and stage traps over here, you got the stage trap over there. Like, he is not gonna be dropped without knowing, he's not gonna be pushed without knowing.
It was perfect! They had it and then they made it worse! I told him stop! No, you nailed it! And then he shrinks it more.
Well,
sorry, focused on the game. Riv gets contribute a lot to this cast. I'm sure many of you are thinking right now, and well, it's not going to show now. It will in the monthly finals. So fuck you.
Oh, combat shield isn't done. I talked about that stim timing, but he really delayed combat shields as well. So the liberators, the tanks, all scary things. No combat shields in the Marines means he is adept. Should just be able to melt them like better. He's about to have +2 as well. If Neeb really wants to play it safe, as the army supply is pretty close, he could wait for his Colossus, but instead use a couple of force fields, realize the attack is going super well for him. The Wood Mines go off on the Phoenixes, so not here for the Adepts either way. Either one, I think, would have left so many more options available to Neeb.
God.
And he just absolutely destroys that army, despite the army supply being similar.
Right, that's the thing, though. GuMiho did bring his army supply back up through this deficit and his bad trades and everything leading up to this point. He's on 3 bases, mashing Neeb for 3 bases and trying to keep Neeb off of 4. There's so many things that GuMiho is like almost doing right, but the problem I think that really persists here is Neeb's not on this level of Colossus, and Liberators are not the counter like they normally would be, like you would assume they would be. In fact, he doesn't even have Liberator range to complement that, which is really going to make this hard to deal with. And I just don't think he can afford to go for a lot of Vikings right now.
Yeah. I really, every time I look at the army supply, I'm like, really? Sure? Is that close? I don't think so. But, you know, Widow Mines now, instead of those tanks, plus Liberators, still gives Neeb a lot of trouble when it comes to pushing and ending this game, so he's still playing very, very cautious, pretty defensive. Thought about pushing, as we saw, when he destroyed that attack, but decided not to. Upgrade should go in his favor. Well, they should be timing up evenly, actually, if he uses Chrono Boost. Yeah, even, I would say. And that's a little bit surprising. Oh, no, sorry, that's +3. Mobby. Alright, so he's still gonna have an upgrade lead. Yeah, okay. Warp Prism sends in a lot of Adepts to the main base, and unfortunately this isn't coupled with something else. That would have been ideal for Neeb. It still gets a
well, the
lot of
transfer's
units
still
over
going to go
here.
through. He gets to the natural. But the bunker's good to cover it.
We should have a split up of the army for Neeb here. This is a little bit dangerous. But he knows that most of the army is covering these Adepts, so it's not like he's going to be caught out of position. No? Not going to go for it? Realizes maybe not such a good idea? I mean, that is something that could go very, very poorly for him if he tries to attack here, be all clever and shit, and then this army gets destroyed. Or vice versa. And it is going to be the attack on the left side that he needs to prepare for. But there's stasis traps, there's 3 Colossus, the upgrades not going to be done here as they push into each other. A little bit awkward for Neeb. He did not expect the army there, but oh my god! Oh Jesus! Okay, that's a lot of
Widow Minefield is certainly something to fear, even if you've got Colossus.
He doesn't have an observer. I realizes that.
That feel when you can't like hallucinate an observer, right? Revelation gonna come over, and there we go.
There you go.
Oracles will make this not a problem.
A good chunk of Widow Mines. Liberator's trying to get some harassment done. Can always surprise a Protoss. And this is gonna turn into a base trade. Uh-oh.
I feel like Neeb, though,
Interesting.
with Overcharge, you should be able to buy a little bit of time towards that base trade. He does blink over to the side.
No,
Of course,
oh,
floating
Neeb.
buildings will be a
Oh.
problem, but the Mothership, of course, sitting at full energy, he misses so many of those overcharges.
Okay, good.
So when this comes to the main, there's not nearly as many pylons available.
Well, I was gonna say Neeb looked like he was gonna back off and try and take care of it, but I definitely don't think that was the right move. I think a base trade's the way that he has to go. Just try and save this base, take this base, actually, I say is the next move for Neeb here, and destroy all of GuMiho. Gumi does not have a planetary to fall back to like he normally would on a 4th base. He is splitting up his army. He's bringing back a good chunk here. I'd say that's a pretty good split. 1 Colossus, a Guardian Shield, a lot of Adepts. Command Center actually just straight up goes down instead of saving them. This could turn into an actual base race, so saving Command Centers is pretty important. But Gumi's about to get trapped here if he doesn't leave right now. It's great that he's getting tech in production, but if he's stuck on a ramp or, you know, the medevacs are caught by the Blink Stalkers, could be bad news. .30 probes, but, you know, similar in the SCV count anyway. Still producing 10 Marines at a time. That's the biggest difference in this base trade so far, is that one person's production has died, the other's not so much. Even though Neeb is trying to get something back up. He tried to get tech first, which is the right move, for sure.
But the thing about Neeb's army that I find really interesting in this situation is it's still so strong. And oh no, Gumiho's army is actually trapped now. There's no good way around this. You're gonna bleed medevacs out. Unless Neeb stops paying attention, he can zip out through the middle briefly. But while this goes on, Neeb may have to pull some of his army back. Big attack on Gumiho to the bottom left and Neeb's newest base. It might be too late to cancel.
He doesn't know about it.
Oh, the stasis trap though.
He does pull the entire army away. I was gonna say,
and the medevacs escape. That
without the stalkers, I think with the stasis trap, Neeb's rest of the army could take this on. But to be extra safe, he does pull the stalkers away too, leading to still GuMiho having that supply lead. Now Neeb will have 3 bases mining, and he's about to have production. He's using the units, the structures he did manage to squeeze out too. Did he manage to save his Emerick's core? No, so that's a little awkward. Not gonna be able to make Adepts or Stalkers or Sentries. He needs a Guardian Shield. But he did get up to Templars. He does have a ton of gas, and Storm, that's great, but I was looking more towards High Templars. He doesn't have any gateways. That's what's making it so awkward. I still want to give this to Neeb, but GuMiho has certainly a chance here. He's not quite taking it. Stasis Trap's going to catch a decent chunk of units. There's not a lot of Vikings. Revelation gets tagged here. Gateways are just turning into warp gates. A couple of Archons would provide so much here.
Oh, I know.
GuMiho was able to finish 3-2. I didn't even notice that. I thought that Neeb would have the upgrade lead.
But GuMiho's army has to get split, so it's eating a lot of these Colossus beams. Right now, that bio gets disintegrated, and Neeb's army supply only falls by 10 when GuMiho's falls by about 20. The Viking count's pretty much gone. There's no way to bring those in to take out this Colossus. The buffer's disappearing, though, and now the Colossus have the Marauders snipping directly on top of them. It's getting really down to the line, and GuMiho's massive supply lead is disappearing. Keep in mind, a lot of his supply is in these medevacs, not in units that can actually fight.
GuMiho has done it.
A couple of Stalkers.
Oh my god. If GuMiho had not pushed right then and there,
but this
Neeb
Archon-
has Storm and Archons with that fight.
Oh, one Archon's not going to be enough, though. It does a lot of damage, but still ends up dying. Stasis Trap. Gonna
Oh my
on the
god!
ground!
Are you kidding me?
Oh my god, he's going to set for Storm. Oh, Neeb
Or
could totally
feedbacks.
storm all of these units the second the Stasis Trap wears off.
Well-
It's going to be disgusting and glorious.
Can he though? Like they're brand new High Templars.
It would have had
They,
time.
no, they wouldn't have had energy. They're at 57, and it's about to go down. They would have only had like 65.
All right, whatever. Archon's going to do good job either way.
The poor Immortal. It would have been such a great help coupled with more units. And Neeb, seriously, the timing for GuMiho's attack was so perfect. He's trying to morph into High Templars again here, but oh my god, a Mothership Core and not die would have been so useful.
Feedback on every medevac now removes them
It's
from the
not
equation. Archons can focus on the bio, but you're right.
Oh
it's
my god.
still not enough. Neeb, where's like that one DT when you need it?
GG.
GG.
Oh my goodness. GuMiho brings it back from a disastrous early game. I mean, the mid game he survived was the biggest like credit to GuMiho not just dying. And Neeb might regret not being a little more aggressive there, but that base trade was going to be the best way to go.
I think that game so early in. I don't know about you. Like I just counted GuMiho out really early.
Yeah, I thought GuMiho was really gonna die to a lot of different things, but Neeb, especially the fact that GuMiho was able to get 3-2, like really when that base trade happened, Neeb didn't kill anything important. Jing Base, Barracks, Starport, nah, all of that was still alive, and I think that greatly contributed to the end of that game. But we're gonna go to the ace match now, and I do want to take a break, so see you guys in 2 minutes. Welcome back. It is the ace match on New Gettysburg. In the bottom left, as the yellow Protoss, he is Neeb.
And of course, in this final game of the series, in the bottom right, looking to break his losing streak, it is the red Terran player GuMiho. I'm sorry, are you gonna still do ads or am I doing ads?
I can do ads.
Okay, I was confused by that. All right. So, anyways, that was a great game for a multitude of reasons. Lots of potential cool things happened. This, that, and the base trade. But more importantly, the fact is that we were both so wrong about GuMiho in that one. And I don't think there's a lot to say really that like we were wrong in counting him out at the point he was out. Neeb just did not execute the base trade very well. It was something where it looked cool, it looks flashy, you're just going for it, right? You just dive right into the deep end and realize you don't know how to swim. And it's kind of like when it happened, because he hit the command centers, hit the engineering bay or whatever it was that he killed, but like with production not being dead, GuMiho was able to mass that second army, which ultimately I think is what won him that game.
Yeah.
And that's not to say like Neeb is out and suddenly GuMiho's become like this crazy swinging around powerhouse. There may have been even just like a little bit of luck involved with that for GuMiho too. So for him to bring it back, great. But can he follow through and push it through on New Gettysburg with another victory? Or is he just going to fall prey to another loss in a best of 3 versus Neeb?
It's the question, isn't it? That was really not a 1 in a million games, but a 1 in like 50 or 100 maybe even games. Like GuMiho played everything pretty damn right from a position that was bad. My greatest mistake was probably just assuming Neeb was going to be able to slice and dice, you know, find that right moment where you can kill GuMiho, and he never really did. He played super defensive, you know? And against Liberators and Widowmines and tanks for a time, can't really blame him. I do feel like that could be one thing about Neeb in general, though. It's really hard to critique this guy too much, and I'm sure he thinks he probably played as good of a game as he could up until that base trade, and then everyone's going to remark on how the base trade went, but for me, it's like watching Soon a little bit, where sometimes his greatest weakness is the fact that he's defensive and smart, but that usually ends up being like overly defensive. Not quite finding those opportunities to actually get the killing blow. Whereas, you know, Parting, for instance, would have tried over and over again to find the killing blow shortly after pushing back that tank push. And maybe he would have thrown in doing so, maybe not, but Neeb certainly let GuMiho get to a maxed out army. He let GuMiho get to better upgrades by not killing engineering bays and reaped the rewards. Well, GuMiho did anyway. I just can't see that situation happening again. First and foremost, GuMiho's not going to do some wonky tank push that, you know, fails and leads him into a more defensive position. And in doing so, it might tend to be a different type of game, because there's different ways to play Terran, right? There's really defensive, get to Liberators, which is what GuMiho ended up doing, because that was kind of his only choice. And then there's, you know, drop heavy, pushes everywhere, trying to catch the Protoss off guard. And Neeb is definitely very good against the latter. We've seen him have complications with the former, the, you know, tech to Liberators really quickly before. Sometimes he won't get to Colossus very quickly. Sometimes he won't go up to Tempest quick enough, as he was doing. Another contribution to probably why he didn't have quite enough last game, too. We just glanced by it, but he was on his way to a Fleet Beacon and double Stargate for Tempests by the time that base trade happened. So a lot of stuff that didn't help him in a real base trade. Tons of stuff to remark on, I guess, in this best of 3. Thank you to Backtrack1 for the 20-month resub. The Marine drop, just a Marine drop. I know he got Widow Mines. Yeah, so he's gonna go for maybe... Oh, no. No? A lot of Terrans recently have been doing Marine drop into Widow Mine drop with a second medevac, but his Widow Mines are being kind of spread out. Yeah. And a Liberator followed it up, and then a medevac.
What do you think with the tank follow-up?
GuMiho just likes tanks. Like, I don't even think he's gonna be using it offensively.
Yeah, like this might be something you might just want to throw in at home, because I guess maybe worried about Neeb hitting with an all-in, or I don't know.
I think that's exactly what he's worried about. Such a common response to a Widow Mine drop is to counterattack with Stalkers. My
concern here, though, is he doesn't really have a wall up to stop depth shading in. One single tank's gonna be hard to kind of micro around effectively.
Well,
I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, it's just Stalkers for now, so it's not a big deal yet.
The good news is, while Blink Stalkers will finish up at this time, and it can be a killing blow, it's usually not at the back of 6 gateways, so the killing blow is more like, shit, I really didn't have anything, which most Terran players aren't falling for anymore.
Well, the Liberator ends up killing, I think, 2 of those 3 probes. I think the Widow Mine got another one. The Stalkers, of course, also, one of them gets picked up. But, ooh, able to deny gas from this position. That's kind of nice. The tank just barely in range. You can always blink away if he really needs to, as we can see. Shutting down gas for a Terran is actually kind of a big deal early on like this. Later on, Terran don't care about gas so much. In fact, you don't even take your geysers around thirds sometimes, depending on how the game's playing out. So, getting any gas now is a big deny. And look at those SCVs screwed up on repairing.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's a lot of SCVs.
You gotta put them back. That's not an insignificant amount that are not doing anything right now. That's a mistake out of GuMiho, and hopefully realizes it soon.
Wow. Yeah. There he goes. All right, now he's fixed it, and the Stalker pressure was good enough, basically. Not devastating, not great for Neeb, but something to use your Stalkers for while you get everything else set up. You know, he cleared up the Widow Mine. He's got enough units, I think, to defend against this, you know, base push. Although it almost has stim. Targets a medevac too automatically, so the drop won't be bothering him again anytime soon. Really quite surprised GuMiho didn't follow up with the medevac triple Widow Mine drop. It seems to be more effective than Liberator, like most of the time. Oh well. It's got decent number of tanks now, so initially just for the defense of the Blink Stalkers, now going to provide quite an anchor for the defense in the mid game. It's a little bit difficult on New Gettysburg because you do have a lot of positions to cover, but that's where medevac drops help. Jura finally goes down. That thing's been around for quite some time. War Prism is a given in this matchup, clearly. And it will have Resonating Glaives, Warps and Adepts. And Neeb actually looking maybe to try and bust GuMiho on 3 bases. I mean, with the Immortal, 2 Immortals, maybe he could? Nah, he's not going to go for it. Sends Lucent Phoenix out, though, and wants to see how GuMiho is going to play. Doesn't really get much of a scout at all. That kind of sucks. But GuMiho is playing pretty defensive, you know? Not a lot of drops. Not really pushing forward here, trying to use the bridge. Just getting the little Liberators. See how quickly he adds on a second starports. But right now, just gathering up all of his upgrades. Oh, that supply block. Oh, jeez. Oof. Feel better, everyone. If you watch a pro gamer sit down 2 call-down supplies.
Yeah, judge harshly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, a Dark Shrine could have saved him last game. He's getting one now. I don't think it's because last game he realized, like, oh man, if I only had a Dark Shrine, but just because it is going to that point where they're, I mean, 4 bases versus 3. GuMiho's only just now even trying to attack, and it's not even that impressive of an attack in my opinion. You're gonna get to this point where, like, counter harassments or countering with harassment, there you go, is gonna do a lot of damage as their army is trying to get a good position. GuMiho pushes out, Neeb pushes in. Not with Dark Templars quite yet, just Adepts, but he could warp those in. GuMiho has to pull back. Again, I don't think he'd get that good of a position anyway had he pushed. Definitely wants to take care of this before he does.
Oh, 8 worker skills so far, 9, 10. Looks like that will be the end of it for now.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy going on with upgrade differences either. I'm actually kind of impressed GuMiho's keeping that closer. Usually with Kona Boost and such, jumps ahead for the Protoss.
It's like 50 seconds behind. Well, lose 13 SCVs only puts him down to 58, 67. There you go.
I'm worried though Neeb might be doing the classic Terran thing we always complain about, where he's giving away a lot of his supply right now, which, don't get me wrong, it's not like he can't afford. But if you give away too much buffer for those Colossus, like, great, you got double Colossus production with, what is minus 14 Adepts or whatever were sent on the front line?
Could be problematic. He has lost 15 overall.
Yeah,
the Warprism going down is not supposed to happen also, I think. That's a Liberators. Well, there was 4 Liberators, not just 1.
Well, a really big important aspect, though, is the fact that it is double Colossus, and right now, GuMiho still doesn't really have an ample way to deal with this. Tanks do outrange Colossus, so they can keep them pushed back to an extent, but for the most part, those Liberators last time weren't that impressive. I don't know they'll be that impressive this time. We do actually have a Dark Shrine in this game, by the way. We kind of joked about this towards the end of that last game. Like, where's that 1DT when you need you? But I'm glad to actually see the Dark Shrine this time around.
Yeah, he hasn't used it, though, quite yet. So just the single DT being warped in now, going to go across the map because the Warprism died. Might want to wait for his Colossus, but also doesn't want to give GuMiho too good of a position. Actually just blinks on top of those Liberators to get him down. Look at these splits. Barely not able to get that last one. There we go. Alright, and he does just destroy this push. But there's a second push going down to the natural here, and Neeb did not see that at all. Big warp in. Does he have a Mothership Core? He does. This should not do extreme damage. The possibility of sniping the Forge would have been great, however. I don't think he's going to be able to get it. Well, there's only 1 pylon. Oh, he's out of range. Okay, he's going to get it. So that is pretty fantastic. That'll make his upgrades ahead, in fact, by 1 entire upgrade. What's this? Nothing to be really said here. Is, well, I mean, upgrade or not, maybe he just doesn't have that big of an army. He's got the abandon the 3rd base, which is not great. He doesn't have any, you know, other tech other than pure bio right now, and that is certainly a problem. No Wooden Mines, deal with the Adepts, no Liberators even try, and deal with the Colossus maybe, but of course more to anything else, and no Vikings. Try and deal with the Colossus, because that's all they're good at. Neeb is going to not take the fights, however, or try and force the fights. This is not exactly what lost in the game last game, but, you know, had he been more pressure, had he been looking for those I can definitely kill you now moments, maybe he could have killed him and just been off with a 2-0. Like this, for instance, right? Like, if he's pressuring and pushing, GuMiho never picks up on his medevacs, and if he does, he's just going to lose the fight straight up. But it looks like GuMiho is being a little bit sneaky, maybe hoping Neeb had scouted the medevacs. I think the Phoenixes did. He's actually going to go for a surround, and this is a cool idea. A really, really cool idea. Neeb is caught entirely by surprise with this. The Colossus can't do so well, and there's like a 270 concave going down, and oh my god.
I think GuMiho just broke him.
GuMiho is so smart here.
There's so many Marauders left over from this too. I mean,
not really.
It's not even like an acceptable amount of this got taken out of the equation. He lost so much. Neeb through the bottom side of the map trying to reconsolidate his army together, but unfortunately it's just too far to run. This is really, really bad.
It is. He's gonna have to cancel that 5th base, which is okay. I think that he should let it buy time and then hopefully get the cancel, because GuMiho is only just now getting his 4th, and it's his main command center. So while that looked devastating, I'm glad that he ran back as opposed to trying to take the fight, because I think either option, you know, looked tempting at the time, but he was able to save at least a chunk of his units and keep the army supply pretty similar. The upgrades, as I said, are in favor of GuMiho, though, since denying on that Forge. Storm isn't done. Those aren't Archons. Get the feedbacks at least. There we go. It's a nice concave for GuMiho, but not the same thing as that 270, 360 surround he almost had.
I'm actually, the Guardian Shields don't get targeted, so they're actually helping reduce a ton of damage from this bio, and Neeb brings it back in a really good engagement. Something he really needed after that last one. I'm actually shocked at how good this went for Neeb. I really thought with his army being picked apart before this even went down, you'll be reduced to 1 Colossus instead of 3 or 4 was going to be really bad news for him, but he makes the best of that situation, and GuMiho perhaps dedicates too much. Now he's on the complete retreat, and Neeb is just picking him apart. These medevacs barely alive, Stalkers blink on top of those. There's nothing left to chase those Colossus, and what's worse is Storm is on deck.
Yeah, and he was able to get that 5th base. That wasn't canceled.
Neeb
That's
got
it. GG. That's a cool
Neeb.
maneuver by GuMiho, though.
That was there was a great fight by GuMiho, but now we have the finals or semifinals starting to shape up. Top half of the bracket, we got Neeb versus Ryung. Bottom half of the bracket, Beyond versus either Reality or Lucira. Both of these semifinals are going to be extra spicy and extra cool. Now, last time we thought we were casting both. I don't know if we are this time. If things have changed, and I don't want to be like wrong again, so we're going to cast at least one of these, guaranteed. Hopefully both.
Okay. Hopefully. We'll get back to you. We're already being invited to a lobby, so hopefully it won't take too long.